Charles James Grabsky. Morning, Mr. Grabsky.
Good morning.
You have one case, and it looks like 6 charges: disturbing the peace, trespassing, 3 counts of battery on an officer, and 1 of resisting with violence. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
I hear what you're saying.
Well, again, it often comes up about whether you understand what they're saying you did. That's really the only question. You understand that?
I understand what they're saying I did,
Okay.
yes.
Do you have an attorney on this?
I have not been able to communicate with anyone yet, but as soon as I am out of here, I will be able to get one.
All right. So you have the ability to hire private counsel?
Well, I don't have any money, but I will obtain one, and
All
until such time, I'll represent myself.
I'll appoint the public defender for this morning's purposes if you want to have a lawyer today.
That would be fine as long as it's not going to cost me anything.
$40 application fee, perhaps. I don't know if it applies to the provisional appointment or not, but it probably is. You want me to do that or not?
Well, if it's, I'll represent myself then.
All right. I'll unappoint the public defender's office. Do you understand that in representing yourself, you run some risk here of perhaps incriminating yourself?
Yes, I'm not worried about that.
Okay. And again, anything you say is being recorded. You just be aware of that as well, Mr. Grabsky.
Yes.
Okay, what is the state's position here, Mr. Liddy?
Your Honor, looking at the defendant's history, it appears he has a prior arrest for a violation of probation on battery on a law enforcement officer back in '94 from Broward County. One concern the state has is that Mr. Grabsky's acts of civil disobedience are getting more violent and irrational over the last several months. The state would request that the court order a psych eval be reviewed by the court before his release, and we would request a $2,000 bond on each of the misdemeanors with a $10,000 bond on each of the felonies.
All right. Mr. Grabsky, let me just have a second to read the police report here, just a second.
Okay. Is that my police report? Can I read it?
Be advised the telephone is not ringing.
Okay. Mr. Grabsky,
Yes.
I've heard from the state. You have an opportunity, if you'd like to have input here.
Yes. Mr. Libby is incorrect, as he should know, and we've already been over this, that I do not have a violation of probation for anything, nor was I ever convicted of battery on a law enforcement officer in Broward County. It is unfortunate that the state attorney keeps on alleging these things. I'm trying to remember what else he just said. With regard to bond, it's my understanding that the purpose of bond is to ensure that I appear in court. I think there is no question whatsoever that I will appear in court. The statements written in your police report are false. Mr. Libby's allegations that my behavior has grown violent is also factually unbased, and I have a great concern that certain individuals, including Mr. Libby and the state attorney's office, are operating with the intent with the Alachua Police Department and Clovis Watson of the city of Alachua to incarcerate me at any possible chance they can get.
Court services, does he have any failure to appear?
Yes, he does. One back 1995.
95?
That is not true. That is you're misunderstanding whatever is reported in that criminal history. It should be expunged, but I have not expunged it. But that is absolutely not correct.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing him? He always comes back to court. Whenever he has a case, he always comes back to court.
Your Honor, my concern at this point is requesting a psych eval. Once there's been a psych eval and the court reviews it and feels it's appropriate, that's fine. I anticipate he's going to come back to court. My concern is the safety of the community and his psychological condition at this point in time as to whether there's going to be any further acts of violence.
I've committed no act of violence. There is no basis for a psychological evaluation, as Mr. Libby knows. This is what the Alachua Police Department and the Alachua City Hall are trying to do in order to prevent me from further exposing criminal wrongdoing by Clovis Watson and other members of the City Commission and the Alachua Police Department. As Mr. Libby knows, there's no basis for a psychological evaluation. I am a perfectly sound mind and perfectly sound citizen in this community. I am no threat to anyone, nor am I a threat to flee.
Mr. Grabsky, if there is no problem with a psych eval, or if you say you have no problem psychologically, do you have an objection to a psychological?
I have an objection to that because I think it is an attempt to defame me, and I think that Mr. Libby knows that there is absolutely no grounds for such a psychological evaluation. What should be being done by the State Attorney's Office is investigating the criminal wrongdoings by Chief Jernigan and Clovis Watson and the City Commission. I have brought this to the attention of the State Attorney's Office, the FDLE's Office of Executive Investigations. We have a circular process wherein all investigations of the FDLE lead back to the State Attorney's Office and Spencer Mann, and the State Attorney's Office refuses to investigate criminal wrongdoing by Alachua Police and city officials of the City of Alachua. No. I have a right. And then I will have a legal.
Anything's further.
Then I will have legal grounds against the State Attorney's Office.
We didn't hear that, Your Honor.
I said, is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Yeah. Bail in count one will be $1,000, count two $1,000, counts 3, 4, 5, and 6, $2,000 each, for a total of $10,000 cash or surety. Special condition: mental health evaluation to be performed at the jail, subject to judicial review prior to posting bond.
Your Honor, may I speak?
You may.
On what basis are you posting bond for me? Is there a reason that you believe I'm a risk to flee? And is there a reason that you're accepting the State Attorney's Office for psychological evaluation without any grounds? The State Attorney's Office has had the previous case that you released me on my own recognizance for over a year, did no investigation, filed no charges, brought no trial. This is a political prosecution.
Mr. Grabsky, I'm going to ask that the state, or rather the jail, expedite the psychological examination, and if there is nothing to be concerned about, I will reconsider the bail amounts that are set here.
Your Honor, I was taken to the hospital yesterday. I have been refused medical treatment according to what the doctor prescribed. I am in extreme pain because of the injuries committed through the batteries against me when Officer Barcia threw my head first into the APD wall. Now, I would like to be released on my own recognizance to get medical attention. If you want me to get a psychological evaluation, I would be willing to do so with my own resources, at my own time, with a professional psychological evaluator. I do not believe that there's any grounds for psychological evaluation, and I feel Mr. Libby and the State Attorney's Office are doing this for political purposes.
Mr. Grabsky, based upon the totality of circumstances here, including your own demeanor this morning, I have some concern about your level of anger and your level of, I don't know, angst, I suppose is the best way to put it, about where you are.
Your Honor, I believe I have reason to be angry, although I don't believe I'm displaying my anger here today. I am concerned that I am incarcerated by Chief Jernigan, who ought not to be a police officer, who has committed crimes, including in this case. I'm concerned that the State Attorney's Office refuses to accept any sworn complaints against the City of Alachua and its police department, and that the State Attorney's Office, if you will review the case file of the State Attorney's Office, you will find that I received 1,000 pages of documents, including a 300-page dossier compiled by Chief Jernigan, with the intent to give the State Attorney's Office the ability to have me banned from the City of Alachua and have such psychological evaluations. This is part of a political prosecution. There is no grounds for my arrest. There is no grounds for my further incarceration. There is no grounds for my psychological evaluation. I am simply here trying to argue my case as best as I can under these circumstances.
All right, Mr. Grabsky, what you say may or may not be true, but this is the forum for determining release conditions, not to try other matters such as
I understand.
complaints against Mr.
I understand that, but Mr. Libby
Watson
is...
or anybody else here.
But Mr. Libby, I believe, has other motives for seeking a psychological evaluation other than the real concern for the community. You and I were at the same event about a week ago at the City Hall of Alachua at the opening. Did I pose a threat to the citizens? Did I pose a threat to you? No.
Go ahead, grab your papers.
No, we're still for the judge.
Mr. Grabsky, I'm not going to engage in a question-and-answer series here like this.
Well, I'd simply like to... I don't believe that a psychological evaluation...
Give me your bond, let's go.
Your Honor,
It's
I
not
have one
time, let's go.
other condition.
I'm speaking to the
No,
judge.
let's go.
Your Honor, have you asked me to be removed by the sheriff?
Let's go.
Please, please, I'm speaking to the judge.
Generally, the state has one more comment, I believe.
Your Honor, we would request also that there be a no contact provision with the City of Alachua Police Department or the City of Alachua City Hall during the pendency of this, as well as with Chief Jernigan and the other victims.
Want to be heard on that?
Your Honor, the state has attempted to use the court to
I'm asking
prevent...
you, Mr. Grabsky, I'm asking you, do you want to be heard on that?
Yes, I do. That's why I'm speaking.
Okay, then go ahead and speak.
The state has been attempting to use the court for this very purpose because I have been investigating successfully criminal wrongdoing by Chief Jernigan, the Alachua Police Department, and the City of Alachua. The state attorney has no reason to have no contact, no reason to seek psychological evaluation, no reason to seek bond. They know I will appear in court. I am not a threat to the community. I am only a threat to those who are violating the law within public office.
All right, anything else?
That is it.
Okay. You'll have no contact with Chief Jernigan or Clovis Watson. You are not to return to the Alachua County Government Center during the pendency of this case, except through counsel. Your lawyer may do that.
I am my own attorney at the moment, Your Honor.
Well, you're not to go there.
Well, Your Honor, who do I appeal your decision to?
You can seek legal counsel on that. I can't really give you legal advice about how to take.
Because my rights are being violated. I've already been put through this for over a year. I was, Your Honor, I'm still speaking to the judge. The judge hasn't dismissed me.
Your Honor, is that the City of Alachua Government Center?
City of Alachua Government Center.
The City of Alachua did this last year. The state attorney failed to prosecute for 9 months until I filed the speedy trial motion, upon which I went to court. It took 3 minutes for the case to be dismissed. That will happen in this case again. There is no reason for any of this to be going on. I should be released on my own recognizance. I pose no threat of not returning to court. I pose no threat to the community. I pose no threat to have my civil rights removed when I have not been convicted of a criminal offense.
Mr. Grabsky, you've chosen to represent yourself, or you may obtain counsel, and you have remedies available to you.
All right, let's go.
May I be excused, Your Honor? Thank you.
Alton M. Holston.
I will not be switched to... Yes, you will. No, I won't not. Your Honor, excuse me. I will not. I will not. I will not. I will not. I will not.
Mr. Holston, come up.
Are you Mr. Holston?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Holston, you're here on a fugitive warrant from another state. from Georgia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Looks like it's a violation of probation for forgery, and there's no bond on it. You understand why you're here?
No, not really, Your Honor.
Well, Georgia wants you back, and that's why you're here, on a forgery violation of probation.
Okay.
Do you have a lawyer?
No, Your Honor.
Can you afford one?
No, Your Honor.
Public defender is appointed for you. Okay, with no bond will remain, you can speak with your lawyer about your rights here, sir. You have certain rights to an extradition hearing, or you can waive your rights to that extradition hearing, and Ms. Roy or someone from the public defender's office will explain that to you. Any questions?
I'll
When-
talk to him after court.
Okay.
I'll talk to you after.
Did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, I just want to know how long would it take for me to be extradited back?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How long would it take for me to be extradited back to Georgia?
Well, if you want to waive extradition, it'll be faster, but normally it's about a 90-day waiting period. Meaning, if you, they have 90 days to come and get you and have the hearing and bring you back. If you do not wait.
We have an incident going on, so it's very hard to hear.
Okay. I'm sorry, did you have your question answered, sir?
Yeah, yes, I just want to speak with her when I get a chance.
I'll talk to him after court. Just stand over here. Okay. Wait about 5 minutes, Your Honor.
Yeah, can you hear?
We're having difficulties with the noise.
Can you close the door?
We're going to close the door.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, the next case is Jonathan Caleb Putnam. For you, Mr. Putnam. Yes. You're charged with larceny, sir, and obtaining property through fraud, $20,000 but less than $50,000. Do you understand the charges?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the means to hire a lawyer?
I know, not at the moment.
I can't understand.
Not at the moment.
Public defender is appointed for you. Mr. Putnam is a Santa Fe Community College student. Looks like he's been here not long and has no history apparently.
Your Honor, prior to this address, he was living in Titusville for 16 years.
All right. Please stand.
I'm not going to say that.
I have no problem with the recall, Your Honor.
Mr. Putnam, I'm going to release you on your own word to come back to court, but you'll have no contact with the alleged victims in this case. You understand?
Yes, sir.
The Cellular Express, Your Honor.
Right.